Greetings, YouTubers and live videoers. It's me, Women29. Doing a lot of videos today. Had the day off. It's snowing outside, so I figured, why not? Um, just came on. I'm getting ready to write an essay on Psalms 24, and the common thought is that it's a festival psalm, which was created by David at the coming of the ark into Jerusalem. However, there's a lot more behind that. Some scholars think that this is broken up into three parts, the last part being a return of the warrior king to the temple idea of Yahweh. Actually, I'm going to propose the idea of the return of the ark, but not in that context. Back in the ancient Near East, arks from almost every nation, if they were captured, it was like capturing the god of that nation. And probably one of the most interesting and beautifully rendered story about the Hebrews' view on the return of the ark is when it was captured by the Philistines in, I think it was, it was 1 Samuel 5 and 6, you read of the return. And where they place it, because the ark was causing plagues, they place it on a cart, and they're advised to put gifts with it and send it back. And from the Israeli point of view, this was Yahweh's punishment of the Philistines for capturing the ark. I think it was in their presence, or in their vicinity, for 7 months or so, and it's put on a cart and sent back by oxen. Well, this is interesting. Oxen, which were never trained with a yoke, was put on a cart and sent back. Now, the idea of the two young oxen comes into play when, as a symbol of the two calves that were created in 1 Kings 12:28. I had to write this down, but 1 Kings 12:28 talks about the king creating the two calves and said, you've gone to Jerusalem, the main temple, long enough. Here are your gods. So you hear the same thing that Aaron told the people coming out of the just after the worship of the calf in the wilderness. You hear the same thing being said by the king after he creates the two calves. O Israel, here is your God. So there's some strong imagery there. So this is the idea of it's pretty powerful. Like the idea of Yahweh directing the ark back after it's been captured on its own. And there's a certain part in this text that also has references. Well, of course, the calves. The Canaanite god El was represented by a bull. Later was taken over by his son Baal. And then Yahweh, in some parts, is also symbolized as a bull. So you take those symbols and you look at it as a metaphor of the two bulls bringing the ark back, even though the psalm was probably written after the fact, but this could possibly be viewed metaphorically about that. So I know I'm kind of talking in circles here, but there's also a text among the Canaanites where Baal he addresses the heavenly council, and the part where in Psalms 24 where it says, "Lift up your head, O gates, and be lifted up, O ancient doors, that the King of glory may come in." Now what happened was, you have similar texts like that in the Canaanite myth where the god Yam, god of the sea, and Yam is in verse 2, first part of 24. Yam sends messengers to the heavenly court in the Canaanite mythology and says, "We want Baal." And they refuse to bow, which is a huge insult to the gods. So all the other gods were scared, and Baal comes in, sees that these messengers did not bow because Yam said don't bow, and addresses the other gods and say, get your head up off your knees, lift up your heads. So this part here, instead of saying, "O gods," it's "O gates." So part of that could be from the Canaanite mythology there. At any rate, what I wanted to do is check out the whole deal of the ark coming back. So we'll check out 1 Samuel 6. See all the issues, because it's beautifully rendered on how things worked. You have the competition of the gods in the temple with Dagon. They set him up, and his hands fall off or something, and then the next night... Anyway, here it is. When the Philistines captured the Ark of God, they brought it from Ebenezer to Ashdod. Then the Philistines took the Ark of God and brought it to the house of Dagon and placed it beside Dagon. And of course, Yahweh's going to win this. When the people of Ashdod rose early in the morning the next day, there was Dagon, fallen on his face to the ground before the Ark of the Lord. So they took Dagon and put him back in place. But when they rose early the next morning, Dagon had fallen on his face to the ground before the Ark of the Lord, and the head of Dagon and his hands were lying cut off upon the threshold. Only the trunk of Dagon was left to him. This is why the priests of Dagon and all who enter the house of Dagon do not step on the threshold of Dagon in Ashdod to this day. And the hand of the Lord was heavy upon the people of Ashdod, and he terrified and struck them with tumors, both in Ashdod and in his territory. So, here you have Yahweh was believed to sit on the mercy seat between the two seraphims of the ark, so it's kind of like the throne of Yahweh being captured. And here, Dagon was, I believe, a sea god or part fish, part god, they believe, and archaeology has found a temple. However, they can't. Maybe they have lately, but the last articles I've read, they can't associate it directly with Dagon. However, they think it may be, because a lot of the Philistine stuff is missing, and a lot of them were assimilated into other cultures. So a lot of the belief system was lost. So here, this is the gods doing battle side by side, and the fact that his hands and his head's cut off illustrates the idea of Yahweh, the warrior king. So, with that in mind, you have the idea more of return of the king than you do anything else in this text. And to just blow it off as a simple ritual prayer that was given out in praise of Yahweh, Psalms 24 ends up being a lot more than that. And the idea of Yahweh, the warrior king, he goes out, defeats the sea. You get the Song of Miriam, in where Yahweh faces the sea, defeats the sea. He comes back, and you get the requirements of who is allowed in the temple. Each god had his own mountain. El had a mountain. El had a place. It was the head of the two rivers. Baal had a mountain. Zion, or Sinai, is Yahweh's mountain. And here we have the qualifications to get in. Who shall ascend the hill of the Lord, and who shall stand in his holy place? Those who have clean hands and pure hearts, who do not lift up their souls to what is false, and do not swear deceitfully. They will receive blessing from the Lord and the vindication from the God of their salvation. Such is the company of those who seek him, who seek the face of the God of Jacob. So, that's just my take on Psalms 24. I plan on posting the essay sometime later. It'll be more in depth, and I'll have the actual reference and the text of Baal with that. And many other things. So hopefully I'll be able to expand on it. But the imagery here is beautiful, and the metaphors used is more than the common person thinks, and it's best to dig into these sorts of things. So take care, and good day.